What are you?
I'm Batman.
Hello and welcome to Mad About Superheroes, Superhero Rewind. Today we hit the rewind button back to 1989 to check out the film adaptation of Batman. Superman the movie is without a doubt one of the most influential comic book movies of all time. You can see its influence as recently as Sam Raimi's Spider-Man and Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman. Superman the movie was very well received critically and financially upon its 1978 theatrical release. It also inspired other attempts at big screen adaptations of comic book heroes. However, Flash Gordon, Swamp Thing, Supergirl, and Howard the Duck, to name a few, failed to further legitimize the genre. All the aforementioned films feature campy tones and tongue-in-cheek approaches over the more dramatic tone and earnest approach of Superman the movie. Director Richard Donner understood that verisimilitude would play an essential part in Superman's success on the big screen. After Donner's departure, the Superman films also began to shift in tone. Though Superman 2, released in 1981, was another bona fide box office smash hit, Superman 3 favored comedy relief over the dramatic storytelling of its predecessors. And Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, was a well-intended attempt to return Superman to his former glory cinematically. But as the saying goes, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Just when Superman 4 seemed to put that last nail in the coffin of the genre, lo and behold, the highly anticipated Batman debuted on theater screens in the summer of 1989. Eager to get out from under the looming shadow of the campy 1966 Batman television series, a much darker and more serious approach was taken to reintroduce the Caped Crusader to modern film audiences. The new approach paid off. Backed up by the incredible star power of Jack Nicholson as the clown prince of crime, the Joker, Warner Brothers assured fans their Batman film would not be a campy revision of the 1960s Batman television series starring Adam West, which was a misconception among fans when it was announced that comedic actor Michael Keaton of Beetlejuice fame would portray Batman and Bruce Wayne.
It's showtime.
With a screenplay written by Sam Hamm, inspired of the Batman comics of the era, and helmed by Tim Burton and his dark visual style, the Batman would finally be portrayed in all his gothic glory on the big screen. Early versions of the script featured Dick Grayson Robin and made it as far as storyboards during pre-production, but unfortunately the scene was excised from the film. The story begins in the grimy, gritty Gotham City streets. One wrong turn takes a family down a dark alley, where they become victims of an assault and mugging. The muggers seek solace on a nearby rooftop. While they count their loot, unbeknownst to them, they are being stalked. The shadowy figure reveals himself and makes short work of the muggers.
Don't kill me! Don't kill me, man! Don't kill me! Don't kill me, man!
I'm not going to kill you. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
Meanwhile, boss Carl Grissom sets up his number one guy, Jack Napier, to take a fall at Access Chemicals for making time with his girl. Jack is surrounded by Commissioner Gordon, the Gotham City Police, and has a destined encounter with whom most Gothamites believe to be an urban legend, the Batman. In a desperate attempt to escape the clutches of the Dark Knight, Jack fires off a shot from his gun. Batman blocks the bullet, and it ricochets, grazing Jack's face. He loses his footing, and it sends him over the ledge of the platform they're on. Batman tries to save him, but Jack falls and plunges into a vat of toxic chemicals. He's presumed dead, but a short time later, after an unsuccessful plastic surgery attempt, a disfigured Jack re-emerges as the Joker and begins a takeover of organized crime in Gotham City, starting with the execution of boss Carl Grissom.
Jack is dead, my friend. You can call me Joker. And as you can see, I'm a lot happier.
Joker then sets a deadly plan into action to disfigure Gotham citizens with a lethal combination of toxic chemicals mixed into health and beauty products. Thus begins the struggle between the Dark Knight and the Clown Prince of Crime. Meanwhile, journalist Vicky Vale and investigative reporter Alexander Knotts have their sights set on exposing the Batman myth in Gotham City. Coincidentally, Bruce Wayne begins dating Vicky Vale, and the Joker ends up stalking Vicky. The trio converge in an all-out action sequence in the Gotham City Museum. Which leads into the city streets and reveals the Dark Knight's tricked-out Batmobile. It's soon revealed that a young Jack Napier killed Bruce's parents, leading him on his crime-fighting path, and Vicky finds out that Bruce is Batman. When Joker's plan to taint health and beauty products is thwarted by the Dark Knight, he resorts to a more direct approach and decides to gas the attendees at a parade for the Gotham City 200th anniversary celebration. Batman intervenes once again, swooping onto the scene with his high-flying Batwing, stealing Joker's poison gas balloons and releasing them far from harm's way. Joker then shoots down the Batwing and kidnaps Vicky Vale. But Batman is in hot pursuit. They end up atop the Gotham City Cathedral, and the Dark Knight and the Clown Prince of Crime have their final showdown, in which Batman fights the Joker's goons, rescues Vicky, and defeats the Joker. The Batman is hailed as a hero, and he supplies Commissioner Gordon with the means to contact him if he's needed. Batman rekindled an interest in comic book movies with fans and film studios. A large number of comic book movies were greenlit and fast-tracked into production in an attempt to cash in on Batman's box office success. Throughout the 1990s, there was massive quantity, but minimal quality. Most films that were greenlit had a similar dark visual style comparable to Batman, such as The Shadow, The Crow, and Spawn, to name a few. Batman's influence rivals the influence of Superman the movie on the comic book movie genre. For example, a simple gag scene that was meant as a bit of fan service was emulated in many other live-action comic book adaptations. Many actors were considered for the role of Bruce Wayne Batman, including Charlie Sheen, Harrison Ford, and Pierce Brosnan, to name a few. However, the role was given to a less obvious choice, when Michael Keaton was cast in the part. Although a more physically formidable Batman would have been preferable, Keaton is well suited for Tim Burton's version of Batman. Burton felt it would be more plausible for an unassuming man like Keaton to need to disguise himself as a bat in order to intimidate criminals. This version of the Batsuit is the first time a superhero portrayed on the big screen strayed away from spandex, and the new approach set a standard for future Batsuits to uphold. Michael Keaton perfectly portrays Bruce Wayne as a man uncomfortable in his own skin and all the riches he's inherited. As Batman, he's more confident in himself and his abilities. His crusade as Batman takes precedence over the remains of a life that lost its meaning when he witnessed his parents' murder. Keaton's performance was so well received, he would get a bit of vindication over his initial detractors when he was first cast in the role.
And I also want to say something in response to all the folks who were writing who kept those cards and letters coming, you know, who said I couldn't do the job. And I'd just like to say, when you come from a family like mine, and you come from where I come from, all you got to do is tell me no, baby. So just keep those cards and letters coming.
In fact, Michael Keaton is so well regarded in the role of Batman that he would provide a bit of fan service by putting on the Batsuit and dusting off his Bat gadgets for one more turn as the Dark Knight, taking the Scarlet Speedster under his wing in The Flash. Over the decades, many actors have portrayed Batman on the big screen, and I like them all to varying degrees. but my absolute favorite to this day is Michael Keaton. Keaton's Batman set the tone for all future portrayals, especially his low-register gravelly vocals.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
What the hell are you? I'm Batman.
Kim Basinger successfully shines through as the only light in Bruce's world as the beautiful Vicky Vale, and represents his last chance of any resemblance of a normal life. Michael Gough plays the part of Alfred Pennyworth, Bruce's loyal butler and most trusted friend, effortlessly. Keaton and Gough have a believable camaraderie that seem as if they've genuinely known each other for years. Many actors were considered for the part of the Joker as well, such as Tim Curry, David Bowie, and John Lithgow, to name a few. The most interesting actor considered for the role of the Clown Prince of Crime, in my opinion, was Brad Dourif, probably best known for his role as the voice of Chucky in the Child's Play film franchise. Robin Williams lobbied hard for the role of the Joker, but lost out to Jack Nicholson. Nicholson steals the show as the Joker. He's tailor-made for the part. His performance as Jack Torrance in The Shining was an obvious precursor to his performance as the Joker.
Here's Johnny.
Nicholson expertly delivers the most quotable lines in the movie.
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Just when I thought the Batmobile couldn't get any better than the 1966 Batman TV series version, the Batman '89 movie upped the ante and introduced what became my favorite Batmobile. Though there have been quite a few since its debut, in my opinion, none have topped its sleek design. The film score, composed by Danny Elfman, is as iconic and memorable as the John Williams score for Superman the movie. The score for Batman is accompanied by a pop soundtrack, conceptualized and performed by Prince. The single Bat Dance was played repeatedly on the radio, and the video for the track was in heavy rotation on MTV.
The album was recorded in 6 weeks, and Prince used 3 tracks recorded earlier: Electric Chair, Scandalous, and Vicky Waiting, originally known as Anna Waiting, named after his then-girlfriend Anna Fantastic. Originally, the songs 1999 and Baby I'm a Star from prior albums were slated to be used in the film, but Prince instead recorded an entire album's worth of material with Batman samples and lyrics. Prince's Batman-centric alter ego, Gemini, that resembles Batman villain Two-Face, which depicts Prince on the right side of his body and the Joker on the left, was featured throughout music video releases, featuring tracks from the soundtrack. Though the album was a financial success, it's not as fondly remembered as Purple Rain, Around the World in a Day, or Sign of the Times. The Batman soundtrack is often regarded as a weaker entry in Prince's catalog, but in my opinion, it's very underrated. In retrospect, I feel it's a strong Prince album, but doesn't hold up as well as a soundtrack to the Batman film. The movie has an almost timeless feel to it, and the Prince songs feel dated, very 80s sounding. Being a child of the era, I love it. I can understand if it puts off some modern viewers and listeners. Party Man continues the flavor of Bat Dance, with its reoccurring Prince-invented character Gemini. Party Man is the most prominent song in the movie, and it's a very befitting theme for Jack Nicholson's Joker. The tune is blaring on a boombox during the Joker's attack on the Gotham City Museum. Other tracks used in the film, such as Future, Electric Chair, and Vicky's Waiting, can barely be heard in the background of respective scenes. Though I think the album as a whole stands strong as a great Prince album, aside from a few romantic themes in the lyrics of certain songs, most of the track's lyrics don't really have too much to do with the Batman movie. Nevertheless, the Prince Batman soundtrack has always been a favorite of mine, and lesser-known tracks like Future and Lemon Crush remain standouts for me. And the aforementioned Bat Dance was the song that incited me at the time to buy the album. Toy Biz released a Batman action figure line based on the movie. As a teenager, I was outgrowing playing with toys, but I still desperately wanted to acquire the entire collection, especially the Batmobile. Though I didn't realize it at the time, the Toy Biz Batman line sparked my transition into an adult toy collector. I had a massive collection of the Toy Biz 90s X-Men action figure line also.
Where does he get those wonderful toys?
Batman was a phenomenon during the summer of 1989. Not only did it spawn a merchandising bonanza, it also spawned 3 sequels. And much like the Superman film franchise, the Batman film series would decline in quality and eventually digress into total camp territory by its fourth installment, Batman and Robin. Much like Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, Batman and Robin is considered to be among the worst comic book movies ever made. That said, Tim Burton's Batman is not without flaws of its own. The 1989 film is notorious among fans for deviating from Batman's origin in the source material. Batman also succumbs to a common action movie trope of the era, and kills his enemies, which is a contradiction to most portrayals of the character in the DC Comics.
A comic book adaptation of Batman the movie was also released to coincide with the release of the film. The comic book still retains some of the controversial flaws of the film. The Joker murders Bruce Wayne's parents, Alfred lets Vicky Vale into the Batcave, and Batman kills the Joker. But nevertheless, much like the movie itself, the comic book adaptation still manages to be absolutely awesome. The Batman comic book adaptation is written by Dennis Denny O'Neil, one half of the creative team that made Batman cool again. The other half, of course, is the influential artist Neil Adams. Though Batman's debut in Detective Comics number 27 featured a Caped Crusader that was a dark, shadowy figure of the night, the Dark Knight detective would later transition into more kid-friendly territory, introducing the kid sidekick Robin, which was only the first step into trimming away Batman's rougher edges and into more wackier hijinks. The 1966 television series took the camp approach even further and was a hit with TV audiences, creating a phenomenon of its own. The camp approach was a bona fide successful formula that wasn't going anywhere anytime soon. That is until the dynamic creative duo of O'Neil and Adams. They rightfully returned Batman to his darker roots. Their legendary run on Detective Comics paved the way to Frank Miller's Batman The Dark Knight Returns and Alan Moore and Brian Boland's Batman The Killing Joke, which in turn influenced the darker approach of the Batman movie. The artwork by Jerry Ordway is incredible. Ordway is truly a master of his craft, having illustrated comics for both Marvel and DC for decades, drawing not only Batman, but Fantastic Four, Superman, and Shazam, to name just a few. Ordway's art on the Batman comic adaptation is spot on. He really captures the likeness of all the actors from the film, and he captures the film's atmosphere and aesthetic as well. I'm especially impressed with how Ordway draws the movie version of the Batsuit and the awesome design of the Batmobile. Jerry Ordway's art on the Batman comic adaptation, along with his artwork on the Power of Shazam graphic novel, are hands down two of my personal favorites. The colors by Steve Oliff also contribute in a big way to the look and feel of the book. Really top talent on a comic adaptation that turned out to be something extremely special. The '89 Batman movie incited a resurgence in interest in the '66 Batman TV series. It inspired Batman the Animated Series, highly influenced the comic book genre of films, and created a merchandising bonanza, and I enjoyed every minute of it. The hype for Batman leading up to its theatrical release was massive. In a pre-internet era, the word of mouth for Batman spread like wildfire. I remember seeing the trailer for Batman in a movie theater. I don't remember what movie I saw that day, but I remember seeing the trailer for Batman. I was a huge DC Comics fan. I watched the Super Friends cartoon series and reruns of the Batman '66 series, and I could not wait for Batman. I was online opening night for Batman. The theater was packed, and the line went all the way around the block. It was a huge event. The only other time I had a similar theater-going experience was in 1983 for Star Wars Return of the Jedi. And just like Return of the Jedi, Batman remains to this day one of my favorite movies of all time. Despite any of its shortcomings, Batman has managed to resonate with its captivating visuals, its incredible cast, and its dark psychological approach make it a definite standout of the era, and beautifully capped off the decade of decadence. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Superhero Rewind. Thanks so much for letting your geek flags fly with Mad About Superheroes.